she just moved in.
Yeah, I just got him up. Let's Harry. Okay, he's outside.
That's the one.
Okay. About now.
Good.
We good? Okay.
Right.
All right. All right. Well, again, we're going to go ahead. Please feel free to go ahead and keep eating. We appreciate people coming to be with us tonight. I'm Mary McCullough. I'm a family practice doctor from Greensburg. And we really do thank you for coming. We appreciate you coming out, braving COVID-19, the potential it was raining this morning, and the distance for some people we know, just to learn about our project. We also really thank Third Place and Nick and Jenny Wills for hosting us here tonight. That's been a huge help. Our purpose tonight is to kick off our fundraising campaign for a medical clinic building in Gandou, Haiti. St. Anthony in Morris, Indiana is a small parish, but it has managed to develop a very organized and growing medical mission to an extremely poor area of an incredibly poor country. The mission has gotten progressively larger through the years and serves more and more patients. We actually, Gandou draws from an area of about 10,000 people out on the hills, and people will walk for hours to get to our clinic. Off and on, because of this, we've kicked around the idea of a dedicated medical clinic building, but the current world situation with COVID-19 and its travel restrictions, political unrest in Haiti, forcing trip delays and cancellations, has pushed us to move forward from just talking to doing. I thought giving you some background on the mission would help you understand the importance of it. 14 years ago, I was fortunate enough to become involved with the medical mission trip to Haiti. I was at a point in my life, my kids were grown up, my husband worked out of state at that point and was away for most of the week. Work, they used the term burnout, and I was there. Just paperwork, computer work, insurance companies, just was really getting me down. And I was looking for a more meaningful way to use my life as the bottom line. And I became interested in joining a medical mission. I was actually signed up to go on a trip to Guatemala. There's a group out of Greensburg that goes to Guatemala, and I was signed up 2 different times. Both times it got canceled because of political unrest in Guatemala. And then the third time, they just told me they didn't need me. So I thought, well, they don't need me. I wonder, is there anybody else that needs me? And it was amazing. It was like just literally like in that next week, I was walking through the med-surg floor at Decatur County Hospital, and one of the nurses there had pictures from Gandou, Haiti, that they had gone on a first kind of an exploration trip to see if they could set this up. Gandou is actually, it's up in the mountains. It's in the southern part of Haiti. I think, how many miles are we from Port-au-Prince? Is it 20 or 40? I forget. 30? 40 miles from Port-au-Prince. You fly in from, typically we go in from Miami with the Glitzy Airport, and then you land in this third world country. But after talking to her anyway, I decided I'd give it a try with their mission trip. They took me right away, and I've been going then at least once a year ever since. Sometimes I wonder if I hadn't been at the hospital that particular day, if I hadn't seen those pictures, I wouldn't have gotten involved in something that I really feel is probably one of the most important things I've ever done in my life. I wanted to give you some background about the medical mission itself to help people understand where we started from originally and how far we've come and our plans for the future, and why we feel a medical clinic is our next step. The St. Anthony Haiti mission originated back in January of 2006. It was organized by Joe and Jennifer Rennekamp, who they continue to spearhead it today and keep everything organized and moving. They had worked on mission trips to Haiti when they were students at college, and then after they got married, they wanted to organize their own trip. And they worked with, there's an organization called Parish to Parish Twinning, and it's based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and they matched a Catholic parish with a Catholic in the U.S. with a Catholic parish in a developing country, and it's mainly in Haiti and the Central American area is where they work with. And that the 2 parishes can work out doing whatever they want to do. They can do a school-based program where they help develop a school. They can do just church related, or they can do medical mission. They can really determine what they want to do. So Joe and Jennifer wanted to establish a medical clinic, and my understanding, and I do remember Joe telling me this, that he asked for, and I quote him, he wanted the farthest out parish that they had to be St. Anthony's project. So that 8-hour drive from Port-au-Prince, where we land, and the incredible steep, long and bumpy road up to Gandou has made me wish that Joe had not asked for quite so far out. But Gandou has turned out to be a perfect fit otherwise. My first trip included Dr. Kim Kick from Batesville as the other provider. We also had a pharmacist, a nurse, and 2 support people is I think how we had it. And we worked out of a small cement block 2-room building with no electricity, no water, no bathroom, no equipment, no nothing. Basically, it was like a park shelter is basically what it was. There's actually on the poster board back there for 2007, and I think it's 2008, there's a couple pictures of the clinic, and there's one, down at the bottom it shows, that's the entire front of the building, and the side looked the same. So it was very...
Not that one. It's the one with the blue tower. Yeah, I made the same mistake. Okay. Sorry. The roof's not that nice on the plan.
Patients would, and you can see people sitting on benches out front on that, patients packed the trail outside the clinic hoping to get in to be seen. When it got too dark to see, we worked with flashlights until we were done. My special memory of my first year there was lancing an abscess. That's an infection of the skin that's turned into a boil, a collection of, sorry, you're eating her pus under the skin. Things in Haiti that in the United States would be dealt with, taken care of. They'll kill somebody in Haiti is the bottom line. And this little girl, if that did not get opened right on the face, very likely this would turn into a real medical emergency for her. And Gandou is basically a 4-hour walk to any medical care before we started going. So anyway, she of course was, as it always is, one of the last patients of the day. Is the problem patient. So this was this little toddler we had laying on a bench because we didn't have any beds. I was kneeling on the ground. People were holding flashlights for me while I lanced this abscess. And I remember it so clearly because at the last minute, I think I was looking around to make sure everything was all ready, and I looked to my right, and there on the wall, like 1 foot from my head, was a lizard on the wall that looked like it was just watching everything we were doing, and because it was all open air. But we took care of her and she was fine. Future trips after that, we had electric lights strung so that we could see, and we crammed a 3rd provider into our tiny room. Dentists from the U.S. started coming along on the trip along with a dental hygienist, which was huge for patient health. All the patients got vitamins and worm medicines, which is truly life-saving in Haiti. Over time, we outgrew the tiny clinic and we took over the school buildings. And this one poster on the far left shows the school building area where the mission funded the school to start building separate rooms for the different grades as they expanded. So twice a year, we basically take over the entire school complex and kick all the kids out for a week. So their schooling is disrupted. But we had what seemed like a huge amount of room then as we were doing this. So as a result, we then gradually expanded. So we moved up to having 4 or 5 providers on each trip seeing patients. And then we needed more of the background work that goes on with that. So we had frequently 2 pharmacists, like 5 people working in the pharmacy to help get medicines ready, assistants in the dental clinic, and nursing staff. The dental clinic now is staffed by, we have a 4 to 5 patient dental team and an American dental hygienist. So the Haitians are hired to come up, and they're extremely busy. They pull a lot of teeth. Dental care is non-existent there, so a lot of bad teeth, but they actually now do a lot of restorations to preserve teeth. We have a Haitian optometrist now that's joined our trip each time, and he fits people with glasses, helps arrange manage cataract care, glaucoma, care for eye infections. So we've really been able to expand into other areas of medical care. And all of this requires more support and people to help organize the patients, weigh them, get vitals, and of course we needed more power for the equipment and lights. So now we take a maintenance crew on every trip to keep us running, and this is where I sucked my husband into coming on our trips to keep our generators running, run the lines. It's just a constant work that they're doing to keep us going. They also worked on projects like the area water supply and different construction projects. And our teams are always over 30 people. I think the largest one I've gone on, I think we had 36 people crammed into trucks and driving up there. So certainly much larger than the original 5-person small team that I started with. We also have a referral program that helps patients with problems that, there's things that we just can't handle on site that week. We refer men for prostate surgery, cataract surgery. We see patients with cancer that if they don't get care, they're going to die. The missions has also worked to bring patients to the United States for problems that couldn't be handled anywhere in Haiti. Pediatric heart surgery has been brought to the United States, burn treatment, complicated tumor type of surgeries. It's been an ongoing process trying to get that to happen, but it takes a lot of time, but it has been done. College students that grew up in the area, the mission actually would get donors that would fund these students to go to college. They then come back to Gandou and pay back their time. They work and live in the Gandou area, helping in the clinic during the medical week, but then also as teachers in the school. And then we have 4 nurses that we have paid to educate, and they've come back and they're giving their time back to the area. Patients are tracked by a medical ID number, just like in the States, and records are kept on computer now, which actually I used to say that was one reason I love to go to Haiti, because I didn't have to use a computer, but now we do. Not for everybody anyway, but when I think back to how simple our trips were initially to how complex and coordinated the whole medical mission has really become, I'm amazed, and I'm a part of it, and I've seen it happen. I mean, it's just really amazing the people that put their time, their work into making this happen. There's Joe and Jennifer, certainly, but just numerous people that meet, or even if they can't come to the meeting, help track patients, help with planning, help with fundraising. It's just really a huge process. But I know it's worthwhile. I know how many people have been impacted by the St. Anthony Haiti mission. Haiti is a very, very poor third world country. Over 75% of the population lives under the poverty line, and almost 50% are in severe poverty. The St. Anthony Haiti mission has evolved over the years and has helped establish an accredited school that goes through all the years of high school, and that's due to the teachers that the mission has educated. Most of the school children are sponsored by a donor and get a nutritious lunch, and frequently this is the only meal they're going to get that day. It's a simple meal. It's rice and beans, and you never saw such clean plates as when they get served their lunch. The group has organized a microloan program and a GOAT program, and our goal is to help families be self-sufficient and support themselves, be able to help themselves. Programs for malnourished children and the worst of the poor families have helped people survive that would wither away. I mean, we have seen patients that we thought would not make it. Jeff Day would be one little boy I'll remember. We thought he was not going to make it, and he's alive and doing well. We know we will never be able to solve all the problems in Haiti, but in the little corner of the world where we go, in Gandou, we are truly solving problems. I know there are people alive in Gandou because we were there. There's children in Gandou that are healthy and stronger because we were there. There are people who can eat today and have a roof over their head because we were there. A medical clinic building will help us continue to be there for the people of Gandou in spite of political unrest, in spite of COVID-19. If we're not able to be there in person, with a medical clinic building, we can establish a Haitian doctor in the area able to take our place in between our trips. We actually have an excellent Haitian doctor willing to fill that need for us now. So I hope I've given you a kind of a quick picture. I think looking at our posters, I hope, of why we're moving on to building a medical clinic building and some info about the medical mission trips. I also really want to stress, I really feel like our medical mission, it's established, it's successful, it's organized, and I foresee it continuing to be just that. The pictures can give you an idea of what things look like, but if I can give you any further information or specifics, please let me know. If anybody's interested in going on a mission trip, we would always love to have more help and would welcome you to come. So I'd like to turn things over to James now to give more information on our actual plans for the medical clinic. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for coming.
That's good or bad that the light's shining on me. I have an interesting relationship with the Lord. Sometimes that sun comes out of nowhere, so I'm going to turn this on a bit more. So, my name is James Dickey. I was born and raised down the road in Batesville, but my grandmother and my mom grew up 4 miles from here, Holland Road, White's Farm, right there. I don't know if anybody's around here, but so this place is kind of close to my heart, and I plan to come over to get more history about here. But okay, my story. So in the summer of 2019, Susan and Paul put something in our bulletin, and my journey is a long journey, but we don't have time for that. So I was really pulled. I looked at that, and the Lord was just like saying, you need to follow up on this. So I sent them an email or gave them a call, and they're like, oh, come to this meeting, we'll tell you what it's about, and we'll go from there. But I knew right away, because the Lord had already sent me to Mexico and Africa, and I knew He was sending me to Gandou. I just knew it, and He was. So what happens next is I go on the trip, and it gave me a dose of perspective. Because again, just like the other places the Lord sent me, no running water, trouble with bacteria in the water, electricity was only man-made through generation devices. And so I get home, because Dr. Mary just explained 14 years of what they've been doing. And they started with nothing, and they're up to school buildings and this and that. And I got home, and it was the same day as my adoration hour in my church. And I said, even though we got home at some crazy 2 in the morning, I said, I'm going to go thank the Lord we all got home safe and lives were changed on this trip. So I'm in the adoration chapel, and it's 5:30 in the morning, and clear as Steve or somebody else looking at me, God says, it's time to build this clinic. It's time to build a new clinic. And something happened earlier in my life with a convent in Africa, similar story. And I just said, okay, I didn't fight it or anything. And so I went into my home after the chapel a little bit later that morning, and I walk into my house, and the Lord literally says, turn on the TV, and I'm like, I don't want to watch TV, I don't watch much TV, and it was persistent, turn on that TV. I turn on the TV, and there's a picture of a saint, the whole screen. And on the screen it says, Saint Rita. And all of a sudden, a voice to my soul, not a little voice, said, she's the one, she's going to help you build the clinic. So let's just say I'm awake. Let's say I'm awake, because this has all happened very, very quickly. And so 2 things happen. This is all in a 72-hour period. So I'm like, okay, the Lord tells me that to these great people who had the vision of someday building a new clinic, that it's time to build the clinic. And then He tells me to turn on TV and says, that's who's going to help you, intercess for you to build the clinic. And then on the screen, after I'm looking at the screen, like in disbelief, it says, patron saint of the poor and impossible causes. So So I'm not, and the people that know me know this is very accurate what I'm telling you. So I'm excited, and my wife, she gets to hear some pretty good stories. So I'm all excited. I said, well, I have to go see Paul and Susan. I've got to tell them what just happened. So I took a power nap because I was spiritually wiped out. And I go over to their house and I walk in and it's about 3 in the afternoon. And I said, you got to hear this story. Because we're all, And I tell them what I just told you. And they said, here's what you don't know. Because I said, weren't you guys thinking about that? Because weren't you and Dr. Mary thinking about this clinic? And they go, yeah. They said, but here's what you don't know. We just found out the land that was donated to us wasn't going to work. But we just found out that we obtained the land right across the road. It is going to work. We now have both sides of the road. So that's the third thing. My hair is even standing up now. So Susan was like, she was really excited. And she was like, Paul, this is going to happen. So we're all excited. So that's the third thing that happens. So now it's Sunday. It's only one day later. And I do ministry at the Waters Nursing Home in Batesville. I do Eucharistic ministry. Well, there's a man on our trip that I wish you all can meet. His name is Tim O'Neill. And first time I met him, the one thing about these trips, if you ever get to go, you will meet people with hearts as big as this room. And the Rippies have seen people like this, that they care about. Just everybody in this room's that way. That's why you're in this room. And his name is Tim O'Neill. And we had 2,000 instances of medical, dental, or vision instances. So this is my first trip in the summer of 2019, and we see 2,000 instances, 500 a day, 4 days. Pharmacy, where's Mary, Dr. Mary at? Pharmacy closed down at 10:30 at night maybe, and we were at Mass by 6:15 in the morning. So you get the idea. Tim O'Neill took every patient that had to walk through the door. He grabbed both hands. He looked at them. He said, because I was working IT, he looked at them and said, you are amazing. And he did that for about 12 hours for 4 days. And I watched him do it. And it changed me. It just changed me to watch a man love like that. Just, I guess you have to be there, but maybe you don't. Maybe you're feeling it through me. So I'm telling you about Tim because when I got to Waters on Sunday, I said, I'm going to be Tim O'Neill. Today I'm going to be Tim O'Neill. Like I said, it changed me. I had been in the Waters for 5 years or 4 years, so I knew most patients. I went to every patient that was awake, and I held their hand, and I listened to them, and I loved them. And it was just, I wish I could do it all the time, because Tim O'Neill was just whatever. So you get the point. So here's step 4. It's 4 hours later. It took me 4 hours to do that, which I don't care. Because if you all ever had a loved one in a nursing home, they're starving for love. And some of the patients had not seen anybody in a long time. So for Tim O'Neill to teach me how to hold a hand and look at them and tell them they're amazing and love them, I'll always be thankful to Tim. I get in my car and I'm pulling out of the Waters. Whether you know where it is, it doesn't matter. And the Lord says, go back in there. There's a man that I want you to meet. Now I've been in there for 4 hours. One of the patients, his name was Robert. He had a brother, and he always wanted me to meet his brother. He never told me why. And I said, really, Lord? And he said, park your car and go back in. So I parked my car and went back into Robert's room, and there was a man standing there. Robert's in a wheelchair. He says, hey, James, he said, this is my brother, Donald. And I'm like, first of all, I'm like, wow, there is a guy here. And he said, Donald, this is James. I've been telling you about James. He just got back. He went to Haiti, and he just got back from Haiti. And I said, hey, Donald, how you doing? What's your story? he said, well, he said, I think Robert wanted you to meet me because I worked in Haiti. And I said, really? I said, what'd you do? Now remember, this is all in 24 hours. He says, I'm an architect. He said, you're an architect that worked in Haiti? Yeah, for 5 years. What's your line of? He said, well, right after the earthquake in 2010, I was responsible for building hurricane-proof and earthquake-proof buildings. I mean, you can't make it up, can you see? So I'm there. I don't think I was crying. I think my chin was just hitting the floor. And I told him what had happened a little bit. He goes, well, I can help you out. He said, I have 9 grandkids, but I can help you out. And this same man talked to us yesterday, giving us information. So the fifth thing that happened was the following Tuesday, he gave me a break on Monday, I guess, the Lord, and he put an architect that I went to school with on my heart. And I just got a hold of him and sent him a text or whatever, and it was Susan Glazier. And I just said, Susan, you're on my heart. There's some things going on. And within 2 hours, she said, I'm in. Do you want it to be monetary or my services? I said, well, we need an American architect. And she goes, you got it. So for the last year, we've taken this story, this dream, and now we're inviting you tonight into our dream. And tonight was more about what I was trying to tell, and I didn't do a good enough job on what I wanted to help our team with, on getting people here. Tonight isn't really about monetary donation, and that's great. We wanted people here with big hearts, and we have them. And when I was praying this morning, very early this morning in a very holy place, I asked the Lord, what am I supposed to say? Because he always gives me good visions. And he showed a piece of a net. And the net was growing. And the strands were just like the net you guys would see fishermen. You would see a fishing net, and the strands are like 2 to 3 inches long, and they were growing. And the net was growing, and they were touching each other, and then there'd be a little knot, and the net was growing a little bit. And he said, those strands are those people. The people that want to share this dream, those strands are those people. And those little knots are the prayers you all need to do. He said, if you pray, it's going to happen. And so we want to take that net and make it a network. So I'll never look at the word network different again after this morning at my quiet time with the Lord. And we want to take that net, make it a network for you good people to share our dream with your friends and tell them to share it. I will go anywhere and tell the story. I will go anywhere and tell the true story about going from nothing to having a building with running water, solar energy, water and sewer, dental chairs. We keep saying medical clinic, but it's medical dental clinic. Because dental is a big deal. So that's a true story, and I hope that you do add people to the net, so they can add people to the net, and then there's just going to be this big network, and it's about $480,000, and we're trying to work with different agencies to make sure everybody's on the up and up, and I don't know what it would cost in America. But when I was working in Africa, in the middle of Africa, a place called Marinwall Village, which is 3 miles off the main road, and the main road was mud. A little nun, 4 foot high, said that we would be the instrument to build a convent on a hill. And she pointed to a grassy hill. And today that convent is one of the most prettiest, amazing, holy buildings in the middle of nowhere in Marinwall, Africa. So we believe, our team believes, and we hope you'll share the dream. We hope you'll help us cast the net. And we have flyers, and Paul, Rel, and Susan have done an amazing job just trying to give you what you need to build the net, cast the net. And again, we'll go anywhere to tell the story, because you'll be changed. You know, I think Scripture says, you know, to how you measure out is how you're going to be measured. So we want to measure out the love, the time, the talent, the treasures, whatever we have, and you can't outgive God. It's impossible. So that's all I have. Again, we want to thank all you guys who's going to help share the dream, and we ask that your families and your friends be blessed by you, because you are good people, or you wouldn't be here tonight. All right? Amen?
Does anyone have any questions about what we're doing, or Karen?
Is that an existing building you're looking
That's
to
the dream.
change? Or that's what you want to build? You need to build the whole thing?
This,
This is, we got with Susan, we got with, Harry's an engineer, Simon McCall's an engineer, and we said, what do we need for the missionaries, the doctors, what do we need? And we started a year ago, and then this is the exterior of the dream.
But that's what you need to build. You
This is
don't
what
need-
we are building.
So it's there?
No, right now, it's a
Gotcha.
grassy field right now.
Okay, gotcha.
Right now, it's a grassy field. So one of our main things, one of our main obstacles is, it is a 4-hour trip through the mountains to get supplies here. So we understand that might be a financial obstacle, but it is what it is.
And you're saying 480?
Yeah, because I think the first floor was 223, and the other one was a little bit more than that.
Is that equipment, furniture, everything, or just the
It's
building?
not everything, but we already know that there are doctors and dentists. This is two good things. Thank you for the question. We already know that there are doctors and dentists that say, you know, we're going to donate a chair, and we're going to donate this, and that's you know. And then Paul and Susan, is it food for the poor that ships for us?
Yes.
Food for the poor. We load up tons, literally tons, and they was it 7,000 pounds this past?
It's almost 8.
So I mean, these people are amazing people. So they just loaded up 8,000 pounds of life-saving materials and shipped it 2 weeks ago.
Right, so things we can't get in Haiti, like you said, we'll try to get things through Haiti to help their economy, but if we can't, we'll ship from here.
Right.
There's Green River, what's medical? It's Green River Medical. It's I can't think of the guy's name, but Green River. George. George. There's Green River Medical is a business that they get equipment from hospitals or clinics that have closed, and they refurbish and resell a lot of the stuff, but they have donated, you know, our barn we have furniture stacked to the ceiling in one area you know, we will be able to get a lot of the furniture totally donated. We already have some of it stored at our house. Like the desks for use in the schools, he donated some, and then the school, your school, I think Paul donated. So I think from the furniture standpoint, will actually be good. Equipment, you know, there'll certainly be equipment we have to buy. We want good equipment there, but it's amazing what you can get donated. I mean, you know, when people know what you're going to use it for, and hospitals, they're going to buy something new, they can give us. Right now we have an old ultrasound machine that is there and ready to be used. So.
And also another beautiful thing is a doctor that we work with already said, I will give 1 year on site, 3 to 4 days a week for pennies. I mean, for pennies a day.
A Haitian doctor.
A Haitian doctor,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
a Haitian doctor.
Yeah.
So,
So
like,
we'll be able to continue our care. That's our goal, is we would like them to be self-sufficient as they can, and for us to go twice a year, was not adequate, so we've had nurses there to carry on in between. And now we have the opportunity to move up to, you know, better quality. Now we're gonna have, and she's an excellent doctor, absolutely excellent. So.
Any other questions? Yes?
So who will own this when it's built?
Would it be the archdiocese that's gonna own it? Yes.
Yeah, it's basically through, that's what someone else asked me, this will be nothing with the government.
Oh, no, it's
Nothing
not,
at all with the government.
So the mission?
The archdiocese of, so it's St. Francis Xavier, I believe, right, Paul? So it would go under their property books, just like you did.
Yeah, so we say we have the land, we don't have that land, but
Right.
the archdiocese has that land ready for us.
Right.
So.
Or how will you cover ongoing operating costs once the building is built?
Well, one thing is we have people that are involved in, which we're not messing with right now, because Joe and Jennifer have a very good base donation, and we said this project, we don't want to mess with you, we're going to cast a different net. But they have a pretty healthy base, people that say we want to help throughout the year doing this. So we just have to trust that whatever it is, we're going to have a new. Go ahead.
We know there are some people that can pay a very nominal amount, you know, a small amount. The sheer number of people paying a small amount, there will be some income generated. Now, there are some people that don't, you know,
Right.
they just cannot, but there will be some funds raised just with that, so.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Our school, for example, St. Louis joined the cause about, it's going on 5 years now. And their school had like 290 kids and very few were sponsored. Now we're up to 428 and almost every child sponsored. And I mean, I'm not kidding you, our leaders, Joe and Jennifer, they watch every dime. You know, they're very frugal. I mean, it's $150 for sponsorship, but if you look across the country at different sponsorships to sponsor children, it's not, usually it's a lot more than that. You're talking $300 or $400. So they're very careful with their money. I mean, I'm so impressed on how they try to stretch every dollar. I mean, right now, like everyone pays their way to go to Haiti. None of our flights or anything are charged to the ministry. Actually, we work the warehouse out of our house. I mean, there's no cost for storing things or anything like
If you
that.
need peanut butter, go to Paul and Susan's because you walk in and there's 2,000 jars of peanut butter.
But I think it's, you know, sometimes you want to donate to something, but you wonder how much goes to professional fundraising.
Yeah.
We're it, you know, we're not professional, which probably is showing tonight, but, you know, every dollar that's donated goes to the mission and it is used, like she said, very effectively. You know, it's not wasted.
I mean, we set up the ship for free. We have just been blessed with help from trucking companies and from US the Poor, and we actually ship the Haiti for free. So we have no cost of shipping. I mean, it's a miracle to me that we can do that. So that 8,000 pounds of stuff is shipped for free.
How do you get it from ship the port to where you need it to go to?
Well, we take it to through the trucking companies, 2 different ones, Crown helps us and Home helps us. It ships the Food for the Poor, and then Food for the Poor has a place in Port-au-Prince. They store it for us, and they actually take it up the mountain to about 4 hours away from where we are. And then Father, he gets a team, but I don't really count that as shipping cost because it goes back into their economy to their people. So Father and his team, they get it the rest of the way up the mountain.
But load by load, I mean, it's
You get it
it's a long
done.
process,
But you
but
get it
it
done.
gets there.
Yeah, it's a mud road, it's gravel, it's horrible to travel, there's no guardrails, it's not blacktop. When you get to a point, it's very bad, but they somehow get it there every time.
It's good to laugh. Milton Berle said laughing's an instant vacation. I got with Susan And we arrived, and it took 2 days to get there for various reasons, but not health reasons. It just took like almost 2 days when we got there. And I looked at Susan, and this is my first time and it only took 18 hours to get to the middle of nowhere in Africa. I said, Susan, is the miracle getting here? And she didn't blink an eye. Yes, it is. So it took 2 days to get where we're to do it, but they've been doing it for 14 years. And the posters on the back are awesome because it shows they started with nothing, and they have school buildings. So this looks grand. I mean, it looks grand and everything. It really does. It is a dream, but we're going to do it. I mean, the 5 things that happened to me in 3 days. So if I seem fired up, it's because, I mean, how can I not believe? And so, like I said, I'm going to go and speak to groups. I'm going to speak to a group in Bloomington. I'm going to speak to a group probably in Chicago, because it's all true what we're trying to do. And so again, that vision of the net, I thought that was really neat to see those squares and say the knots that tie us all together are our prayers. So when you guys pray, just say, oh, by the way, Lord, would you please bless the new Clinic Haiti team?
Yeah, I'd like just to add, we talk about 100% goes back to the people of Gandou. It's actually more than that. I mean, I would say it's 110 plus, because everybody that's involved with the team gives more. I mean, we give so much extra, like, Susan and I take care of all the shipping and we store it and all the logistics. Dr. Mary, works with referral patients and, all that time. Bonnie has been very involved as well. Harry's a lifesaver to keep things running. Just as simple as keeping our generator running the week that we're there, so that the dental clinic can, do the procedures. And I mean, it's a very life-changing mission. And it's, we talk about the roads, and it is very treacherous to get there. We don't tell anybody that before they get it, but
It's interesting, it's an interesting trip.
just to let you know, just recently, the hurricane blew across the island and washed out the roads. So it's really difficult for anybody to get there right now. The father can't leave. So we're working with someone that's got a grader, and we're paying for the fuel so they can come and grade the road so they can traverse the road. There's nothing in the United States that I can compare to, and that's all I can say. It's just, but once you go, it's like you have a deep appreciation to continue helping this group. So I appreciate everyone that's come tonight as well. And again, if there's any other questions,
Where are you now? How far along are you? And I tell you, I always ask 2 questions. Where are you now? And then what are immediate needs to keep it going until you get this done?
well, we'll continue to do the biannual medical trips. So where we'll see, up to 2,000
What's the cost for that?
patient.
What's the cost to do that?
For us to go?
Well, just to do your trip.
Our trip is about, what would you say, 30,000 by the time we buy
Yeah, that's
it.
not counting all the people that give their time and energy and their money.
Yeah, so everybody going pays their own way. And then, between the medications that we take with us, we hire translators, drivers to get us there. And then also we take money for referrals, because we've always run into someone that we cannot help because we don't have the facility to do that. Right now, we cannot do any surgeries whatsoever. We've done several births while we've been there.
We didn't mean to.
It just happened.
When it comes, it comes.
Yeah, when it's time, it's time.
Yeah, so we budgeted probably that 30,000 every trip just for stuff that we need to get.
Well, that's counting what we get, because Jennifer always says it's about between 10 and 15,000 in medicines. But we pay for the translators out of our money, we pay for the drivers out of our money, we pay for our own food, we pay for our own board while we're there. All of that comes out from us, which is about $1,500 per person.
And
And then you have 30 people going, but that's out of our
Yeah,
pockets.
then we do like our pre-shipment of supplies, so we send peanut butter, toothpaste, toothbrushes, bar soap,
you send them pics of wheelbarrows
Yeah,
this time?
they've asked for help so they can maintain their roads themselves. So we've taken, people have donated wheelbarrows and hand tools. So something simple to us, but to them, as a lifesaver, have a wheelbarrow.
But again, that's all donated, everything that comes
Yeah.
out of our garage is donated. People get linens from the hospital, sheets, towels,
Yeah,
blankets.
so, I mean, we try to minimize our costs.
Paul's become an expert at rebuilding treadles, sewing machines.
Rebuild what?
Sewing machines.
Oh, so yeah, the manual sewing machine.
So
Yeah, that's
the
what, that's,
kinda, you know, because we're trying to help, I mean, we call them the poor families, but they were the poorest of the poor, and they had no income. So we started to try to figure out, okay, what can we do to help them? And one of the things they were asking for were sewing machines. And it's like, okay, I thought my line trouble sewing machine can't be that difficult. So we have sent 10.
No, we're up to like 13.
We sent 13 trouble sewing machines to them, so the women can sew. A lot of times, you have to understand, down there's no department store to go to buy clothes. So there are people that sell clothes that may be a size too big, and so they take it to somebody at a sewing machine, and they tailor it so they can then wear it. Same with, you know, women's dresses and things like that, is they will go buy something that they like, and then they have someone alter it for it. Then that gives income to the person that has a sewing machine, hence it feeds their economy. I mean, that is one of our big things, one of our side projects working on is the economy in Haiti. And what was your second question?
What are your immediate needs? I think I was,
Yeah.
you could do 30,000 and, yep. And how far along are you in the fundraising?
We have just started.
Okay.
We have
36,000.
36,000 so far.
And, okay,
plus,
you know-
plus the land.
Do you need all of it, or what do you need to get started?
Well, if you've ever been to a third world country, everything is built in phases.
Yeah.
Typically, they will build a first floor, and it will have no roof. And when they have the money, they will then expand. This building can be built like that. We're also looking, I mean, we just got our first bid back from the Haitian architects. And so we have not gone back to them and said, okay, let's change this, let's drop the cost. So we've got some things that we think we can do to drop the cost. Harry's working on getting a team together to go in and put the electrical in. Patients have one way of doing it that works for them, but when we have to maintain it, it doesn't work for us. So Harry wants to work with the electrician team to go in and put the electrical in for them. And then Kevin is working on the plumbing and the septic for us. So he's got that all mapped out on what that needs to be. So it's going to be an interaction that I think Haitians typically don't have, is added an American resource. And Haitians are very open to learn. That was one of the things they're like, bring in adult education for us. Teach us how to farm better. Teach us how to do things. So, you know, they want to improve their lives as well. So with building this clinic, it will establish a foothold in the community on something they have not had, you know, access to. We have a small clinic that has 2-ish rooms. It's got like 2 rooms and a storage area where they keep their medicines. And we have nurses that currently work out of there, but nurses are limited on what they can do.
it's going to be a little bit like Jacob's Well, where this region, which is 10,000, is probably going to double because they're going to be able to live and survive because they'll walk 8 hours to go to a doctor. That's a good day for them. And so again, Paul's explaining also, we don't want to give them. We know that if we teach them how to fish, then they're going to survive for a lifetime. And so we have all these programs that they can self-sustain. You know, we're in the middle stages of these self-sustaining programs. We want to get ourselves out of the business and just check on them every once in a while and move on to another mission. And we believe this is the way to do it after 14 years. Go ahead, Susan.
James, to address Nick's question, though, but we're talking about to get it really going to be able to start would be like 100,000.
That's the number that was just in my head, that when you have 100,000 and they do it, and that buys us X amount of months to, and again, we have 36, and I have some people I'm talking to this week, that once our drawings, and Kevin has assured me, what we need to make sure is when they seal that cistern, it has to be sealed correctly, because all that water that goes in there, and it's amazing what the man knows, is life. It's bacteria-free water. And it's really, I mean, I might go there just for that and stay there for a couple weeks just to make sure that gets done properly. Because if that water is being collected properly, everything else is going to be good. Because Harry's got the know-how to do electric and all this, but we need water collected and sealed properly. So we think if we get 100,000, we're going to tell them to go, and that's going to buy us time. Because, you know, and only God knows how long it's going to take to build it. It could be, I don't know how you even answer that question because
so we just built a 6-room, 2-story schoolhouse, and it took over a year to build that, and it was just a cinder block building.
It's beautiful, building.
Yeah, so this is what we just built with donations, and that took over a
it
year.
really is a beautiful building.
That
So
took over.
just to calibrate, I mean, this is possible, we can do this. We've built other buildings. We built, you know, the schools, four different times. The schools, this is the 4th one, so it's definitely manageable.
It's just,
The original, extension on the original, the one with the cistern, and then this latest
it
2
just takes longer.
Church got rebuilt, we can do this.
It just takes longer because of logistics and getting supplies there. And, you know, we keep referring to us as a clinic. This really is a mini hospital. I mean,
Will you have an OR?
have a what?
Will you have an operating room?
We have a potential to do that, yes.
But is that
A layout for surgery, it's laid out for section surgery.
Initially, we were gonna use the area for dental, but then eventually we could convert that to OR and move dental to the 2nd floor, which is why we'd like to have a 2nd floor so that we can have it all in one building. So initially, we will not have an OR, but yes, that's our goal is to have an OR.
And we want the missionaries and doctors to have a place to sleep that's
Dry.
dry. But, I mean, how many do we have in our room, Harry? I don't know,
I
12?
built the bunk beds, 2, 4, 6, 8,
So,
and, you know,
yeah. I mean, you know, I love Harry and everything, but, so.
He knows way too much about it.
So it is, you know, again, it's good to laugh, it's good to have a dream, but there's been too many, I don't believe in coincidence anymore with my journey, too many God incidences that this is going to happen, and if, you know, if you're so called through your prayer that, you know, you're supposed to be involved, you'll know that. You know, everybody can't do everything, but we do ask you to pray. Number one, pray for us, pray for our safety, and cast the net. That is our number one goal tonight. I want to make that clear for our team. I really do. My hands are tingling that our number one goal, we hope you enjoyed the truth, cast the net for us and pray for us. That's our number one goal this evening, and I'm telling you that from our team.
Of the 480, how much is for building it and how much is for the balance of the equipment?
The 480 is all structure.
Yeah.
And how much is the balance of the equipment that you don't have?
We have not calculated that.
We haven't.
But like Dr. Murray says, we feel that we'll get a lot of donations for equipment.
Now, when we move to put in an OR, that's expensive, because that you can't have, you know, I can have a donated bed that might be a little lumpy, but we gotta have good equipment in an OR. You can still use refurbished, you know, I know that's available because that's what Green River does, but that's where, that will be more expensive, but we are not planning on moving on that right away.
Are you shipping building materials over there or are you buying them there?
We have the option to ship if necessary.
When Donald built the earthquake resistant, and hurricane resistant, he built the beams in Kokomo. the beams, he structured them and built them in Kokomo and shipped them over. So we have to weigh all that. When you know, when we're again, we're gonna get to a point and say it's go time, and then we're buying ourselves, you know, we have different people working on different modules, and one of the things is who's working on materials, and Paul's obviously the expert, and are we gonna have to build those here and ship them over, or are they gonna have what we need for that building? And it's an answer we can find out fairly quickly. We just,
Are they making like cinder block that on site or?
oh yeah, well, did they build the block on site, Harry? Did they build their blocks on site?
They bring the block up.
Okay.
They bring the block up, they mix the mortar on site, of course. The block and the rebar all comes.
And before this group, make sure you go back for seconds. We didn't get a chance to go back for seconds on food. And if anybody has somebody at home, feel free to ask for a meal to take home to them.
It's delicious food.
Oh, well, I'm bringing a group back over just to eat. I'm telling you. So that's how impressed I was with you and your team.
Thank you.
So, okay,
And tell them that on the way out.
I will.
But make sure you grab another drink and some more food and take some home with you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.